Hello, everyone. This is Shama with Girls and Geese. We're back for yet another edition of our Next Generation series. This is a series which highlights young, up-and-coming female grapplers that are making their waves through the Jiu Jitsu world, and we love to be able to have an opportunity for them to share their experience with us. So today we have Chloe Walker. She'll be joining us. She'll be answering questions if you have any. You can post them up in the comments. This is an amazing opportunity for us to get to know a young up-and-coming athlete that's in the UK area. So we are excited to have her on here. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on here in just a second. There we go. So Chloe is a 14-year-old yellow and black belt. She was recently promoted. We're so excited to have you on here today. Thank you for joining us. So I gave you a little bit of an intro. I know you're a European champion. You're also a world champion. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So I started training about 5 years ago. I train out of Stealth BJJ, and I like to compete a lot. Like, that's what I just want to do. I just want to compete. It's actually all I want to do.
That's awesome. So how did you get into Jiu Jitsu? What brought you there?
So my brother started it, and then he started to like come home and started showing us all like, oh, this is what I learned. This is what I learned. So then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see. Watched one class, and then the next I was started.
Excellent. Had you done any sports prior to that?
No, nothing
No.
really.
So
No.
this is the first right off the
Yeah.
bat. Excellent. So you started 5 years ago. Tell me, what is jujitsu like for young girls like yourself? Do you have a lot of women in or a lot of girls in your division these days? Have you seen it kind of growing as time has gone on?
For the yellow belts, it's slowly getting there now. I see there's a lot of now there's a lot starting, but it's good to see like the yellow belts is getting more popular and stuff because obviously everyone's like moving up and up. So it's yeah.
So do you have some pretty fierce competition? Some really tough competitors in your brackets?
Yeah, I'm starting to get, yeah, it's definitely getting better now. Like I've got some tough opponents now, especially as I'm getting older. I'm starting
Yeah.
to get, it's a lot better.
So in the UK, do they combine the boys and the girls together in the division, or are there enough young girls for you guys to have your own divisions now?
Yeah, you only get a boy, like literally body fight to go with. You know, like if you literally cannot get a fight, they'll put you with a boy then. No, I think like everyone gets nervous, but like you just learn to control them better. It's like the more competitions you do, you learn to like deal with them better. No, you've got nothing to lose really. Like if you lose, you just learn, and then you can go back to the gym and then work on what you need to work on. And the more you compete, you kind of you get better with it.
So, I know you're young. What are some of your big goals, your long-term goals that you want to do in jiu-jitsu in the future?
I'd like to like travel around and just compete and like teach as well, just teach jiu-jitsu to like other girls, boys, whoever, just like travel around, like especially to come to America, that's a big one.
Yeah, there's a lot of jujitsu in the States for sure. A lot of opportunities. So in the part of UK you're in, are there a lot of jujitsu academies, or is it starting to grow bigger and bigger, or
It's growing, it's still growing.
it's still growing? Do you ever get together? I know here in the States, a lot of the young girls, they cross train. Like they get together and they train together. They make friends from competing with each other. Is that something that you all do over there as well?
Yeah, yeah, we do that. We'll have like open mats where everyone from any gym, they all come together and we all just train. And you get to know more people then.
Yeah, it's a great way to get better at jujitsu too, right? When you're
Yeah,
testing yourself,
and it,
and you meet some amazing friends too. All
yeah,
my great friends have been from jujitsu as well. So I know you've competed a lot. Out of all of your competition, what has been like the one that you cherish the most? Like this one means the most to me.
the world was definitely,
Tell
because
us about it. Tell us about the world.
it's the biggest, obviously, like the big title. Everyone wants it, and I just fought really hard for it. I'd say like I had two tough fights. It just felt like really well deserved. Like because of all, I had two fights and they were just like really hard, but I managed to win them all.
How did you win them? Was it submission or points?
I think the first one was points and the second one was a Kimura.
Oh, nice. So what I know it changes, right? As you do jujitsu more and more, you kind of at certain points in your journey, it's like, oh, I love arm bars. I look for arm bars everywhere. So at this point that you're at night right now, what are you known for? What do we got to watch out for when we're rolling with you?
I'd say bow and arrows.
Oh,
Then
I like that one. Excellent. Is there any specific setup that you use for it, or is it just kind of you just able to see them everywhere now?
um, I'd say I like 90% of the time I get them from technical mount and just find grab it and then I just roll onto my back. But I can get back control also. But that's when I get them.
Excellent. So, are you the only? Did your brother? I know sometimes with I talk to young girls and they say, "Oh, my brother started jujitsu, but now he doesn't train anymore, but only I do." So, is your brother still training?
No. He's
Anybody else in your family training?
um well he's on because he's on and off. I'm technically the only one.
Ah, you haven't gotten your mom or dad yet.
No, my dad does pictures though, so he pretty much knows jiu-jitsu.
That's awesome. So he goes out to all the tournaments and takes pictures and such. Yeah, that's a good way to learn how to do it for sure. Just kind of knowing when the moment is to, I'm a photographer as well, so knowing when those money shots, as I call them, where you get that nice choke.
Yeah.
So what else are you into? I know I ask a lot of the girls this, and they're like, I just do jujitsu. Is there anything else that you have as hobbies or interests or like topics in school that you really enjoy?
No, really. I like doing like I don't we call it PE, physical education
Yeah,
in
yeah,
I like doing that. That's
yeah.
one of my I like the fitness and that helps with my jiu-jitsu, getting like more fit and stronger. So that I like that 'cause it helps.
Excellent. So do they change it up? I know here in the States they've kind of started phasing out PE, unfortunately, for a lot of schools. But is it different where it's like one day you're doing maybe dodgeball or softball or like, like jumping jacks, or how is it over there?
So for 6 weeks you'll learn one sport. So we were doing rugby at the minute. It's changing now, so we'll go on to maybe dance now for the next 6 weeks. So we just change so we learn like each time. So like every week it'll be so in rugby, you're going to learn how to pass, and then the next week after, you'll learn how to defend. And then by the end of the 6 weeks, you can do full matches. So that's how they do it.
That sucks. Rugby's tough.
Yeah,
Rugby's a hardcore sport. It's like a full contact sport. Excellent. So tell me what else, what else are some things that like maybe like is there any like when you say, "Oh, I want to grow up," is owning an academy something that you're thinking at this time? I mean, I know you're young, so
I'd say I'd like to do my traveling first, and then maybe at the end of that, I'd consider opening up a gym. That would be pretty cool.
awesome. I know a lot of women who are young like yourself. I know actually one, Penny Thomas, she was in South Africa and she picked up and just moved and then she ended up actually in the States. She's in Hawaii where I live. And her jujitsu journey has been phenomenal. So I know a lot of doors do open just because the jujitsu is so established in the States now, for sure. So that's awesome. Well, we'll have to look. We'll have to look out for you when you're doing your tour seminars in the States.
Oh,
So I know you probably had a lot of experiences in jiu-jitsu. Is there any like experience that really stands out to you other than the worlds? Is there anything like maybe a coach gave you like some really good advice that you hold dear to your heart that has really kind of helped you push through your journey?
I don't know really. I feel like every competition just helps my training. So like I'll do a competition, and if I've lost by something, then I'll literally concentrate on that one. Well, not just that, but I'll help just make it better. Like each competition helps me get better because I'll go to the gym, practice what I weren't as good at, and it helps me.
Well, that's what, I used to compete a lot, and I found that learning that adrenaline dump, right, that you get every time. I found that sometimes, especially early on, I would have that adrenaline dump when I'm standing on the sidelines, and I'm like, "It's my turn! Oh no, I'm having the adrenaline dump!" And then as I got better, it was like, "Okay, now I can like hold on to it, and then I unleash it right in the middle of the match." So that was one thing that I learned over time. So, are most of, I have to ask this, are most of your friends jujitsu friends, or do you have any non-jujitsu friends?
All my school friends are non-jujitsu, but then when I
Think
go
about
train
you
there, I
doing.
have like obviously my friends there, so I have like a good split.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It keeps you balanced. What do your non-jujitsu friends think about you doing jujitsu? Do they think it's like karate, or do they get what it is?
Yeah, like you get the karate comments, but they all think I'm crazy. Like it's like you're mental and you just yeah.
Have you convinced any of them to come over to the jujitsu side?
No.
No, no takers. Oh, bummer. Awesome. So I know that like having a really good support system helps out a lot, right, in our jiu-jitsu journey. And it sounds like you got a great family that's standing by and is there supporting you. Um, what is some of the best advice that you've ever gotten, like maybe from your mom or your dad or from a coach?
Like I'd say whenever I'm like when I was used to get like really nervous for competitions, they'd always say like you've got nothing to lose, so just do your best, and then whatever happens happens.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's just jujitsu, right? It at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you lose or win. I found for me, like losing was almost better sometimes because then I can go back and be like, okay, I need to work on this, this, and this. Whereas when you win, you're like, woo, I just won, and you're like, I don't remember what happened.
Like you don't be humble sometimes. Like you don't get the humbleness.
Yes, losing will definitely humble you. Especially if it's a really, oh gosh, I've had matches before where you lose like within like 30 seconds and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Awesome. So let me see. What, I guess, what are you like as far as like looking at jujitsu and where it's at now? This is a big question. Where jujitsu's at right now as a sport and how much you've seen it grow in the past 5 years. What are some things that you would like to see happen? Like what changes, I guess, would you like to see happen in the jiu-jitsu world in your time?
Definitely a lot more girls. I think the girls needs like it definitely needs some growth. There's need to more competitors and or even just training just for self defense. It'll just make people more confident and just even just out anyway because you don't know anymore. Like it's just good to have just to walk about with because you just never know.
Mm-hmm. How do you think, and being a young girl and being in the demographic that we're talking about, what are some things that we can do to get more young girls into the sport, into the art?
I think things like this, like talking about it and showing it, like it, people will look and be like, "Oh well, if she can do it, then I can do it," and it'll just feel good because if there's like the girls and geese events that you host, that'll bring more in because they'll be like, "Oh, it's all girls," so they'll feel more confident, not just going in and getting attacked by like giant men who are all like sweaty on the mats. Like it'll make them feel better.
No, I agree. That's how I started. I'd been around jujitsu for about 5 years, and my guy friends would be like, come to class," and I'd be like, "No, it's not for me." And then finally, they got one of their girlfriends in, and she started a women's only class, and that's how I got into it. And
Yeah,
so because I was like, I don't want to go roll around with a bunch of big guys and get smashed and be sweated on and right? It's not very appealing. Especially when you're talking to people and being like, oh, what is jujitsu? Oh, it's a bunch of chokeholds and joint manipulations. Oh, that sounds kind of scary. so So, like I said, I know that things are different over there. What are some things that you see that are different in the UK and in the States as far as the jiu-jitsu scene?
um, I'd say the competing. I feel like you get a lot more competitions in the like America compared to over here.
Yeah. How often do you see tournaments over there?
I'd say there's some like the biggie ones like nationals, Europeans, and worlds. They're spread about probably 3 months apart.
Oh, that's not too bad, but yeah.
Ones and then any local ones like Centre and Manchester for me. I'd say they're probably like every 2 months or every month sometimes, depending.
hmm I know that this is a controversial topic, but I know that some parents do encourage their kids to cut weight. Do you fight within whatever weight that you're at that time?
I've decided to move down to the under 50 kg because I found it's better because I'm so short and I'm fighting girls who are like really, really tall. Like, I just think it depends on your age because obviously I'm 14, so I know how to cut weight properly and not very ridiculously. It just
hmm
depends.
So do you cut and then go back up, or are you just kind of maintaining?
I'm the same, even when I'm not competing. Like, I just end up around the same. Like,
That's good.
and sometimes I'm over 50, sometimes I'm under 50.
Is it hard? I know living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, especially as an athlete, you have to put a lot of restraint on your diet and your activities. Do you find that's hard to have that discipline, or is that something you've just learned over time?
I've just kind of learned to just live with it, but I don't really have to cut too much. Like, I just kind of, it's just not bad to be like, I don't have to be too restrictive. So it's
That's
not,
Yeah, you're still young. You have a really fast metabolism. Wait until you get older. It gets harder. Enjoy it while you got it. Oh, that's awesome. So who are some athletes, and it could be male or female, but who are some, or it could be instructors as well. Who are some people you look up to in the jiu-jitsu world, as far as maybe their style or their how they hold themselves or any of that?
Mackenzie Dern's one. I know she's just gone into UFC. She's good. I like Fion Davies. She's really good. I like her knee cut, and I literally copy it. That's like my thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, don't let her get the knee cut," and so she gets the knee cut. So it's like it's there. They're like two top ones. There's so
She's a phenomenal role model you have right there too, like at your disposal. What like I guess in looking at them and looking how far they can go, do you think that's inspirational for young girls to see that, oh wow, if you keep with it, you can actually make a career of it?
yeah. I think that's like a good inspiration for anyone. Like even me, it's good for, but especially like new girls who are looking like, oh, who's like a black belt or whoever, just to look at. It's like, oh wow, look at those. They're like, I know Fion's just in New York at the minute as well, so they'll be like, oh wow, she's over there teaching and competing.
No, that's all. It shows that you can do it. You can go out there and go to a whole new country and start something new for sure. Have you ever thought about doing MMA like Mackenzie?
Well, I've actually started having some PTs this year. I just started it this year. Um, so I'm just gonna probably start fresh, like in New Year. Try and join an academy, just see what happens.
Oh, awesome. Hey, well, we'll be looking for you out on UFC as well, I guess. I know a lot of women, it seems like a very easy, not easy, but it's kind of a very common, I guess, path in jiu-jitsu these days, largely because there's such a uh, enticing amount of money that goes along with doing MMA these days. So I know that's definitely a path, thanks to the women that have done it, like Ronda Rousey, who really
Yeah,
kind of kicked open those doors that were already kind of being open. So it's you guys are lucky. I started 18 years ago, and there were no role models really. There were only like maybe five that I knew of. So you guys got a whole bunch more for sure. So if you were to give somebody advice who's maybe thinking about jujitsu, who's watching this and is like, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know if I really want to do that, what advice would you give somebody who's considering jujitsu?
the least you can do is just give it a try. Like, just at least give it a try, and you never know. You might just end up joining the class the week after, like I did.
What do you think is what are some things that you think people can gain from doing jujitsu? Like what have you personally gained by starting this journey?
Confidence is like a big one. I used to be like really, really shy and I just wouldn't talk to anyone new. But then, because I kind of started it going into high school, so then when I like talk to anyone. In like, but in primary school, I was like pretty quiet. But now it gives me confidence, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think that's largely from actually doing the sport or having like the social side of it within the class as well, or do they kind of go hand in hand?
Yeah, I'd say both have done that. Like I probably would if I was like never done it, I would probably never go live even on Instagram and talk to people. So that's like socialness, it's helped, and then having jiu-jitsu knowledge is it's just nice to have.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm proud of you. You did it. This isn't that scary, right? Oh. Is there anything else before we close out? Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the people watching today? Any other message that you'd like to get across? Anything that you're passionate about that you want to share with everyone?
I'd just say, like, if you're looking to try it, just try it. There's nothing to lose, and if you want to compete, it's just if whatever happens, the least you can do is just go out and try.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe it. I hear you loud and clear. I think that's a great message to have because at the end of the day, it's just jiu-jitsu, right? So you still get to walk and breathe and live and that those are the most important things. So win or lose, you're still good. Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure having you on. I'm so happy we got to do this today. And I look forward to seeing where you go. I look forward to watching you potentially at the UFC one day. And let us know when you do your tour of tournaments throughout the states and abroad. We'll help promote it. And I'm really excited to see. I think it's so important, and that's why we started doing this segment. Is it's so important for us to feature young girls like yourself, up and coming, becoming young women, and showing that anything is possible. And so, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your insight. It was very important for us to have this discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you keep on inspiring those girls over across the pond from us. And you take care. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. It was a great pleasure having you all. And we will see you next time. Bye.